Universal's Islands of Adventure has been going through a lot of changes recently, and we have some possible new ride details to talk about. Hello everybody, welcome. With the Lost Continent undergoing active demolition, we've been waiting for some information on what could possibly be going in this new land, and now it seems we might have our first clues. Universal continues to invest big money into their theme parks, with big changes coming to Universal Studios like Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift and Fast and Furious Supercharged being replaced. In addition, we have Epic Universe and the brand new Harry Potter attraction coming to the Ministry of Magic, and the brand new Dark Ride coming to Dark Universe. Now with Islands of Adventure, we of course have the huge Lost Continent replacement, which is on everybody's mind. But we also have speculation on a Marvel superhero island replacement possibly coming, and the replacement of the Toon Lagoon. And of course, there are some other big things happening like the Jurassic Park River Adventure refurbishment. But aside from some loose details on some of the construction happening, we just don't have a lot of information on what some of these possible new attractions are coming to Islands of Adventure, specifically in the Lost Continent area. However, we now have what could be an early indicator on a first new attraction in this brand new land. A recent permit filed on July 20th with the City of Orlando reveals an agreement between Universal and Garmindale Engineering for an equipment install that is ending sometime in March of 2027, which really doesn't give us a lot of time for this permit. Now, there's been a lot of chatter online about what this permit could be for, but not a lot of detail and analysis on what it's really talking about, where it's going to be at. So I wanted to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and talk a little bit about what I'm seeing and what I think this could possibly be representing. So the first question is, how do we even know this is Islands of Adventure at all? If people just speculating it's Islands of Adventure, where are we getting this information? After all, Fast and Furious Supercharged was just recently announced over at Universal Studios that they're going to be closing it even earlier than expected, officially closing on August 16th of this year when it was previously supposed to close sometime in 2027. And coincidentally, this permit dropped right after the announcement of that closure. So could this in fact be work that is related to a possible Fast and Furious Supercharged replacement and not something in Islands of Adventure at all? When you look at Garmindale Engineering, they don't really have a lot of big attraction credits to their name. However, they have been in the business a long time and they have worked with Universal specifically in the past. Garmindale Engineering creates a lot of really cool custom ride vehicle implementations, everything from Omnimover / People Mover type ride vehicle systems to trackless ride systems and even some water ride systems. In fact, they have one really interesting ride vehicle system called the Motion Master 30, which when I look at it looks very similar, it looks really similar to Fast and Furious Supercharged, the bus that is part of that attraction. That is essentially similar to what you get on the King Kong attraction over at Islands of Adventure. When I look at this thing, it looks pretty similar, almost like an advanced or improved version of this bus system that would allow you to have something that could potentially fit in the existing track system of Fast and Furious Supercharged, while simultaneously possibly updating and upgrading that ride vehicle system to be able to have more mobility, more motion, and do more things with it than what that current van system does today. You could see this thing being easily implemented and replacing the existing ride system in that building while keeping the general ride track in place and then changing the overall theming to the attraction to something like Back to the Future and then calling it a day. This could happen pretty quickly and replace Fast and Furious Supercharged really fast. And given the timeline for moving the closure of this, it kind of lines up. However, when we dig a little bit deeper into the permit and we look at the parcel ID for this permit specifically, it states that it's for 24-23-28-8981-00-060. And we know that this particular parcel ID is in fact for Islands of Adventure. It also calls out Universal City, Florida, 35/84 Lot 6A. And in permits in the past, that particular lot has been associated with that same parcel ID, which is Islands of Adventure. Universal City Walk, Epic Universe, and Universal Studios all have a different parcel ID. So it seems like anything for Universal Studios for this particular permit is probably off the table here. That this permit does in fact have to relate to Islands of Adventure, and given the expiration date of this permit, it really needs to be something that is in active development. It's not something that is in the future. It needs to be something that's happening right now. So there really are only two obvious locations or things that this might be related to. The first one is, of course, Lost Continent. This is what a lot of people have been talking about. We've talked about Lost Continent and the various theming and the elements and what it could be translating into. It could be anything from Zelda to possibly One Piece and even Pokemon. Now, of course, Pokemon is currently the front runner for what is going to be going in Lost Continent. And there's been lots of rumors for what we could be getting in Pokemon, and I've even done videos on this in the past. And it really all comes down to what are they doing in Universal Japan. We've said this before, Universal has an agreement with Nintendo, with Pokemon, that if they're gonna build something with those IPs, it really needs to get put and created in Universal Japan before they can do something in the US. It doesn't mean they can't build them simultaneously, but they can't really open one until they've opened the one in Japan first. We don't know for sure if this extends into the Pokemon universe like it does the other Nintendo properties, but we're just gonna go with that for now. And we know that Universal has come out on record and said they're planning Pokemon attractions, not just for Universal Japan, but also for Universal theme parks worldwide. And they are in active development of replacing the Spider-Man attraction in Universal Japan with a brand new attraction, which everybody is pretty much indicating it is gonna be Pokemon, though Universal themselves has not come out and confirmed this. Now, the Universal Japan version of Spider-Man is very similar to what we get in Universal's Islands of Adventure over here in Universal Orlando. It uses the Scoop ride vehicle system. So the question is, are they going to keep that Scoop ride vehicle system over in Japan, or are they doing something differently? The Scoop ride system has historically been used for very thrilling attractions like Spider-Man, like Transformers. It hasn't really been used for something that might be more of like a relaxed or chill type of ride, which you might expect with a Pokemon attraction. A lot of things in the Pokemon universe tend to happen in large outdoor settings like forests and fields, and you're catching different Pokemon, though there are a lot of urban settings as well. So depending on the style of attraction, it may not be as intense and crazy, and we'll talk about that in just a second, as what maybe the Scoop ride vehicle system was designed for. So the question is, could the Scoop ride vehicle system be used for something that's a little less intense? And I think the answer to that is yes. And why I say that is because we have a perfect example of that actually over in Tokyo Disney Sea in the form of Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure attraction, which uses their own variation of a Scoop ride system, which was actually designed and developed by ETF Systems. So it is not the same as the Scoop ride system, because the Scoop ride system was actually created by Oceaneering International, and that's what Universal uses. But this is sort of like Disney's version of that, created by ETF. And it is a much more relaxed, less intense ride, but it is very similar in nature, almost kind of like a Remy's Ratatouille Adventure or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So I think it could work for that. However, I've also been getting rumors that they're not just going to continue to use the Scoop system over in Japan. They could in fact actually be gutting the entire interior of that attraction and potentially replacing the ride vehicle system as well to be something different. Unfortunately, we don't have any details or information on who the manufacturer is for that attraction just yet. But we are expecting it to be some sort of dark ride attraction, something similar to a Scoop vehicle system, but with some changes. Because they've come out on record and said this new experience is going to be interactive with all 5 senses, which means there's gonna have to be something that is not just visually and auditorily impressive and smells, but something that also has touch involved. So you're gonna actually be maybe holding a camera or holding a gun or pushing buttons of some kind. So there's gotta be more interactive elements for all the senses than just what the Scoop ride vehicle system offers today. And the biggest contender for this ride system is some sort of like Pokemon Snap type interactive experience. And this will be leveraging something with regards to VR/AR, augmented reality, like cameras that you could potentially be holding in your hands, and you could be looking for things on screens and snapping photos of them, or various animatronics that are happening, scoring points on the quality of your actual photos that you're taking, the rarity of the things that you're taking pictures of, whether they are sleeping Pokemon or battling Pokemon. So obviously the rarer and the more difficult the shot is to get, the higher in point value it's going to be. And then you can imagine theming elements going through different climates like snow-capped mountains and lava pools and things, which again, like is going to really sort of capitalize on all of your different senses. You think of like cold and hot weather changes on your skin and feeling those things. But more than just sort of the camera itself having some sort of AR or VR type overlay experience similar to what you get with the Mario Kart attraction at Epic Universe. And you can imagine sort of these points and things that you're gathering will actually go with you outside of the attraction. You could potentially, incorporate that with some sort of in-app experience that you carry with you and try to beat your score, or try to level up Pokemon and things with multiple ride-throughs. So this could be a really cool, interesting experience that they are planning for Universal Japan. Again, this is speculation based on what we're hearing and thinking, but we don't know for sure. So if this ends up being the attraction, this would be what we would end up getting over at Lost Continent if it in fact ends up being Pokemon. And so when we now look at Garmondale engineering and the types of experiences they can bring to the forefront, does it match up? Does it align with an experience of that type? Garmondale does have some similar ride vehicle systems to the Scoop system. They have a couple of older, what they call Motion Master technology ride vehicle systems. They've been around for a while. They have integrated custom audio systems built into them. But they also have a brand new Viper VR experience. This is a ride vehicle system. It's a stationary ride vehicle system that incorporates a complete VR experience into it, that also has motion, up and down, tilting and things like that, almost kind of like a simulator experience. And because Garmondale is known for custom vehicle systems, if obviously the right partner comes along, Universal could very well be partnering with Garmondale to bring some sort of custom experience or crossover vehicle system like this Viper system, in addition to maybe one of their older Motion Master series, like their People Mover or their Motion Master ride vehicle system, combining that to create something really compelling. So this definitely could work and could be what's happening. However, I do have to say, it seems a little odd to me that Universal would be looking at potentially using a manufacturer that would be different here for Islands of Adventure and the Lost Continent replacement from what they are actually actively building over in Japan. Now, it could be that Garmondale is also working to create this Japan version, or it could be they're doing something different there with a different vendor but a similar experience, and then they're going to build their own variation of it over here in the States. It just seems a little bit odd to me. Because we don't know the manufacturer for what's happening in Japan, it's kind of hard to know for sure. So given the fact that I don't know that Garmondale is working in Universal Japan right now, I'm not really sure if that's what this is going to be for. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about what this permit could be for is the next obvious, which is something to do with the Jurassic Park refurbishment that's happening there at River Adventure. River Adventure is scheduled to open November 20th of this year, which is just a couple of months from now. So timeline-wise, this work that Garmondale would be doing would kind of line up and be within that window before the permit expires in March. Garmondale has done a lot of work with gate systems. So the Jurassic Velocicoaster attraction at Islands of Adventure, they did the gate systems for that, and they also have done gate systems for other Jurassic Park experiences across Universal's properties. So given the fact that they are pretty much refurbishing the River Adventure attraction from top to bottom, it could be very possible that Garmondale really is just coming in to update the gate systems for Jurassic Park River Adventure. Nothing bigger than that, nothing crazier than that, no ride vehicle system at all, really just updating their gate system. Look, I am super excited for whatever comes to the Lost Continent. I'm super excited if it's Pokemon, Zelda, One Piece, and excited about whatever attraction ends up being there. But when I really dig into the data and permit information that's available, I have a hard time connecting this particular permit with a brand new attraction that is coming. I don't think it's impossible. I think it'd be really cool. It could be doing something neat there, but it does seem like it might be leaning a little bit more towards it just being maybe a gate system or something else entirely that we're not just not aware of. Maybe they're improving a gate system in another attraction, or maybe it has nothing to do with gate systems at all. We just don't know enough information at this point. So if I had to put my money on one thing, I'd probably say it's something probably less interesting than a brand new attraction in Lost Continent, but who knows? So that's all I've got for this video. I wanted to walk through the real data and what I'm really seeing out there and to decide, is this going to be some brand new cool Pokemon attraction, or is it going to just be something a bit less interesting? I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Are you thinking this could be this Pokemon attraction? This is the first indicator. I mean, there could be more permits that happen. This isn't going to be the only permit if this is in fact for Pokemon. There will be lots of other permits dropping, but until we have that information, we just don't know. So love to hear from you down in the comments. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Be sure, of course, to like, subscribe, and share this content. Until I see you next time, the Noble Way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.